Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We are joined by the folks from Morris Sperry, attorneys and partners, and I'm going to introduce you guys who you are. We have here with us Melissa.
Good morning.
Good morning. Then we also have Robert here in the middle.
Morning.
And then John as well. I am so thrilled to have you guys here because we're going to be talking about a free seminar that you guys are holding to help people learn how to avoid legal issues when it comes to dealing with their HOA and management issues. I mean, there's a whole list of things that we could go through when it comes to dealing with all the issues relevant to an HOA, but we are so pleased to have you guys here because this is a very relevant and pertinent problem, one that I think we need to know a little bit more about, because at least in my experience, I have found that we don't feel confident maybe or feel like we know enough about the issues related to HOAs to feel confident moving forward and making changes. So welcome. I'm pleased to have you guys here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So to begin with, you guys have a seminar that you're offering tonight which will help you with many of these legal issues. Melissa, tell me about this.
That's true. Today, Tuesday, at 6:30, down at Red Rocks, we'll be hosting a seminar on property management contracts. We particularly directed this towards professional property managers, but also to HOA and condo board members all of whom need to know about the ins and outs of professional management contracts.
Right. And then Robert, tell me, this is really nice of a law firm to offer a free seminar like this to give the help in the way that you guys are doing. Why are you doing that?
Well, it's an issue that we think has a lot of problems, and we see it, but it's not something that we get to help on very often. We represent associations and we work with managers. So the contract between those two parties is not something that we can usually touch because we work with both sides. We're conflicted. Right. But usually the contract is not very good, so we thought that if we could talk to everybody on both sides about it and create a good contract and kind of just hand it out to people, we might solve some of the problems that exist between the HOAs and the managers, even though normally we can't really get involved in that.
Right. And then John, share with us a little bit about what is it really you guys want to make sure that people are aware of, at least in your experience. I mean, you guys are the professionals in the matter and helping us know what we need to do to make sure that we're dealing with things in the appropriate manner. What are you hoping people take away from this seminar?
Well, the first thing I think would be just an understanding of how important the HOA management contract is. It really is the most important contract that any HOA will enter into, and the relationship with their manager is one of the most important relationships, and it's really one of the key factors in the success of the association. So that's a really important concept to try to get across, and both for managers to understand and community association board members to understand, hey, this is more than just signing a form. We really need to read this contract. We need to understand the expectations of the parties in the agreement, and not only that, but have an understanding of what we want and make sure that it's in the contract.
Very good. Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the unfortunate instances that you may be able to relate to. I hope you can't relate to any of these. But let's give folks an idea of some of these situations that you have dealt with or that you've come across. Melissa?
Sure. I think most recently I had a situation where one of my HOA clients felt they needed to part ways with their management company. And the basis for the dispute was that the association was feeling nickeled and dimed to death. But to hear the manager say it, you know, the management company was being asked to do a number of things that just simply they thought were above and beyond and excessive, and that they were not feeling compensated for. And really the situation could have been avoided entirely if they had just simply been very clear in the contract in defining the scope of the responsibilities and specifying what services are going to be included in that management fee, or what services are going to be extra, and if they are extra, what's the rate.
Robert, give us another example of some of the things that you guys have dealt with, and maybe it'll kind of jog your memory for viewers out there to think, oh, I'm dealing with that, or oh, I need to fix this.
Well, I think it can range from the very small to the very large. It can be just fees and costs that the HOA doesn't expect and gets concerned and confused as to why they're being charged these. Or it can be, as John knows a little bit more about this, but if the manager starts stealing from the HOA and starts, and that stealing can take the form of not just reaching into the bank account and taking money, but perhaps paying for things with HOA funds and being sort of sneaky about it. And then when that happens, the first thing everyone's going to look to is the contract to figure out, the manager might say, hey, no, I was entitled to pay for those things. And the association will say, no, I mean, you're stealing from us. And the way you figure out whether there's actually stealing is you have to look at the contract.
We recently had a case where there was some theft by a manager, and this is pretty rare. I mean, you don't see this very often, but we had a case, and the first thing the police asked after we filed the report is to see the contract. And they wanted to know what funds the manager was legally entitled to and those that they weren't, to help prepare a case. In that instance, the association did not have a written contract, and that has created one of the problems, and it's been difficult to get the police to prosecute that case.
Wow. So to find out more about this, well, you know where to go. It's that seminar this evening. One more time, remind us of the place, the time.
So tonight, 6:30, Red Rocks out in the Junction. If people can, RSVP, call us at our office, 435-575-9000. Let us know that you want to come.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, John, Robert, and Melissa. We appreciate you guys joining us this morning. I have certainly learned a lot and some great insights. You can get a lot more where that came from this evening. Once again, thank you to Sperry. They're holding a free seminar to help you avoid legal issues involving HOA management contracts. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. Well, after this break, we'll be back in studio, joined by one of the commissioners for Summit County, discussing what you need to know about. That's up next.
Trying to take no blame, but you could put